Hey folks, how you doing? I want to talk to you a little bit about a trade we did in Tesla today, and a nasty day for the markets, as you can see here. Markets just getting smoked out. S&P down 2% for the day. It was just a steady stream of selling all day. And so when you have this type of gap down in the market and this kind of steady stream of selling, some of the things that you want to do is really look for stocks that can follow along with. And so one of the things that you'll see, I had this Tesla on my radar, is that if you look at the daily chart, I had this on my radar from the previous day, right? And so one of the things that you'll see is, after it had this kind of earnings breakdown, I believe it was earnings or something along that end, but after it had this earnings breakdown and you got near the 200-day moving average, notice how like you had a 4-day bounce, right? 5-day bounce. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what this is called, and so you fill this gap here. So this is called a breakdown pullback. And the reason I like this trade is so you're right at the 50-day moving average. So you're right at a resistance point. And so your risk is really small because, if it breaks above, you're going to get out with a fairly small loss. But, if it follows through, you have a target down to the 230s, that's a nice reward to risk. And so, when I'm day trading, essentially I'm looking for an intraday setup to match with what I'm seeing on the daily chart. So, intraday today, when the market was just kind of getting boosted down, first thing we do is, I never want to chase. I never want to chase a stock down. So I always wait for a stock to kind of bounce up and then even out and then roll over. And so, as this stock bounced down about 251, it's on my watch list, but I don't want to just short it. I want to short into the bounce. And so, we ended up shorting around here a little close to about 254. And I don't trade big, right? So, I did like 200 shares. So I trade 200 shares. I short 200 shares with an initial target of the low of day, and then, a final target of, much down lower. You want to kind of ride the trend down. So you can see, like, as this thing came down, as always, we take a little bit of profits here because when you get a few dollars in a matter of minutes, you always want to take some. And then later on, you can see here is that, you kind of end up having kind of a flag breakdown here. And so you get this continued downside. And so you get this nice kind of easy-go-lucky trend down. And so, we covered 100 shares into here, and then the rest of it in the kind of 247, 248 range. And so, right off the bat, just off a small amount of shares, we had a fairly good gain. And then later on, you can see, this is what I love about kind of trending stocks and stuff like that, is that, later on as this thing consolidated midday, you can see it started to stall at resistance here. And you ended up cracking support. And so we reshort some of this right at the 247 area with initial target down to here, and then we ride the rest down. And so you can see it was like a really nice trender down to 245. And then later on, as this thing is flagging out, and we're still keeping part of our corpus, part of our first, this first batch, from here, once you get this secondary breakdown where you test and then you test and you test, you're going to short this thing essentially again for one last row because it's a much longer pattern. And so you could take this thing short with, a stop above, resistance, and then you'll catch, the last bit down here. And so that, that's kind of one of the instances of when you have a trending day, rather than just sitting there and kind of sashaying around and trading like a million stocks, find a couple stocks that, are trending, and then you can trade the intraday setups over and over based on what you believe is happening on the daily chart. And so what I like to do is, I gain my thesis from the daily charts. I get my thesis from my daily charts, my idea generation, and then I use smaller term time frames to pinpoint my entry points. And so it's pretty cool. This is what I do in front of my students all day, guys. We have a program called Bull's Vision where my screen share is up just like this, my trading platform, everything. People see me trade live. And that's one of the awesome parts of our 60-day boot camp is, we have a nice class that is like a university style class. It's not just a couple day video or DVD. I mean, this is a full-blown program. And during this time, my students are actually watching me trade. You know, I got to put my money where my mouth is and trade in front of them every day. And they see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we talk about it, and I explain things to them live as it's going on. I think that's a really, really important way to learn, because it's one thing to have book knowledge. It's a whole nother thing to go out there and see it live, and then when you're doing it, have somebody walk you through it. So, guys, email me if you have any questions. You know, I love talking trading stocks. Thanks for everybody thank you to everybody for coming to our free 4-day-long beginners workshop that we had this week. I was truly humbled to see almost 1,000 people show up for this workshop. I hope to do it again in the next few months. Thank you for your time, guys. As always, you will see me around at the Bulls on Wall Street chat room. If not, I'm always making cool YouTube videos. I'll see you guys around. Take care.